Hi everyone, welcome back on Study Room. So in the previous videos, we have discussed about some important elements of population, growth of population. Okay. In this video, we will be learning about characteristics of population. What are the characteristics? Means different dimensions of population and what it determines. Okay. So let's start. Very first and very important composition is age composition. This is a very important factor, and this is the very first factor which comes. So how age composition is very important. Basically, a person's age influence lot of things about the population. Okay. A person's age influence what they need, what they buy, or what they do, and what are their capability to perform, okay, as a human resource. Okay. um, Now, this age composition is further divided into majorly three forms. Okay, majorly it has three structure. First, we have children. First, we have children, very obvious. Second, we have working age group. Okay, working age group involves, um, yes, working age group involves people or the group which usually earn for themselves and are not dependent upon anyone. For example, children are obviously dependent upon working age group. And third, we have aged. Okay, aged group involves oldies which are again dependent upon working age group. So this factor of working age group, and to understand how much working age group we require in our country, is very very important. Okay, so here is the structure of India's age composition, which is we have a 58.7% adults, 6.9% in the blue bar, they are aged people, 6.9% only, and children are majorly 34.4%. So the percentage of aged children and aged group and children are dependent upon this percentage, which is 58 percentage. Okay, so this is about age composition. Next, let's discuss few important questions here. First, how many children do you know are engaged as household helps or laborers in your locality? Now, you'll have to observe your surroundings and be aware about this very big problem that sadly we have in our country. It is child labor. So, observe around your surroundings and find out how many children are there who are engaged in household or in some other kind of labor activity which they should not be doing. Second here is, how many adults do you know in your locality who are employed? Now again, very big concern we have in our country these days is of employment. The working class we discussed are the major human resource. Okay, they are the people in upon which the age age groups are dependent, children and aged. They both are dependent upon the working age group, right? So now the another problem is a working age group. The working age group has to be employed, okay, where they get enough salary to suffice. So this prevailing problem of unemployment in our country, find out how many adults in your locality who are unemployed. Next, third is, why do you feel are the reasons for this? Why do you feel are the reasons that there might be two people who are not working, who are unemployed, and comes under working age group? And also find out what are the reason that these children actually, instead of studying or playing or doing another activity which suits to that age group, are into labor and some sort of earning. Sensitize a little over this and find out what could be the reason. Next, another important characteristics we discuss here is sex ratio. Okay, sex ratio is the number of females per thousand males. Okay, number of females per thousand males. So if there's thousand males, there will be one female. sadly, due to many reasons, we measure sex ratio like this. Now, if we discuss some important factors of sex ratio here is that if, so for example, let's observe this map that we have here and the data that is available to us. Okay, it's from 2011. For example, if you see in Bihar, it's 933. 933 is the sex ratio, which means there are 933 females per thousand males. Okay, so discussing few more, it's Kerala has 1084 females per thousand males, which is a good ratio, and Pondicherry has 1038 females per thousand males. In Delhi, it's just 866 per thousand males. Yes. So for the cultural reason and social reason, the ratio of female is always less in our country. Okay, and this has been lowest in Haryana. Next, very important characteristics that we study about population is literacy rate. Literacy rate is the rate or the ratio which tell us about the literacy. Literacy means that a person who can read or write. I'm sorry. So a person who can read or write in any language are considered to be a literate person. Okay, it's not just if you know English you're literate, if you know Hindi you're literate. No, anyone who knows how to read and write in any language are considered as literate person. Now, literacy is very important. It is a very important factor for development and growth. The society, all over will only develop when the literacy rate is high. Okay, and as per the latest census, India's literacy rate is 73%. Okay, out of which, if we bifurcate it, there are 80% males who are literate in India and 64% females who are literate in India. Now, why are we focusing on literacy? Why do you think it becomes a very important characteristics of population? Well, literacy is very important. You are studying right now through a medium. Why are you studying? You are studying to become a better citizen. You have better understanding of things. If you study, you can be more involved into research, and you can ask questions for things, right? Nobody can fool you. These are the few basic factors why people study, okay, to get better opportunities. So literacy rate is very important, and lower literacy rate leads to a big economic and social barrier. Okay, it stagnates the growth, it stops the development of a country. Okay, so literacy rate is very important. The higher literacy rate is in Kerala. Okay, Kerala observes the higher literacy rate, and literacy rate which is less than 75% are and the lower literacy rate is observed in Bihar. Okay, highest is in Kerala and lowest is in Bihar. So very important factor. Now, another important characteristics is that we study about the occupational structure. What are the occupations? Like what are the sectors that people involved in? And occupation basically means a job profile or a job or a occupation. Okay, so in India, 64% of the people are engaged in agriculture sector, means they are involved in primary sectors. Okay, and around 13 to 20% are in secondary sectors and in tertiary sector respectively. So 13% are in secondary, and tertiary has 20 percent of the occupation required. But mostly it's 64% people are engaged in agriculture, in primary sectors. So these are the three major sectors of Indian economy. First is primary sector. What is primary sector? Primary sector involves primary things, primary making of goods. Okay, for example, it involves forestry, fishing, agriculture, which is done by farmers. Okay, so major niche we have in occupational structure is are farmers. Okay, so primary sectors involve these all these things: fishing, agriculture. Now that we have a raw product, for example, let's take milk. Okay, now this is a very fragile product that we have, milk. Second is secondary sector. Second is secondary sectors. Now secondary sector involve manufacturing industry. For example, this milk will be converted into a proper packet of milk that you and I receive at our homes. Basically, it is done by manufacturing sectors. The work of primary sectors was to get the milk. Now they got the milk. They have the process has been shifted to secondary sectors. Secondary sectors will manufacture the product. Okay. Now, how will I receive? For example, milk in my home. I get milk from, let's say, Haryana, for example. So how will I receive my milk from Haryana till here? So now we require help of some service, right? We need some kind of service sectors here. So all the service sectors, be it transportation, education, for example, teachers, doctors, they all are providing some kind of service, right? So that is why we call it tertiary sector. Now the job of tertiary sector, in reference of the example that we are studying, is the job of the tertiary sector is to get the packet of the milk which is prepared by secondary sector and to get it delivered to me safely. Okay, so this is tertiary sector. That's how the occupational structure overall in India has been divided. Next, and very important characteristics we study here is health. Now, it is very, very important to take care of this beautiful population that we have. Make sure that they are safe, healthy, and have all the nutrition and all the resources that they need. Okay, so despite there have been considerable achievements in improving the public health, means the healthcare sector is now improving. We have modern techniques, we have medicines that were not available in the previous time. So this sector has been increasing, but still, if we come to the data, so there have been decline in the death rate, which was in 1951 it used to be 25 per thousand people, a population in 1951. Now it is 7.2 only per thousand in 2011. On the other hand, the good news is birth rates has increased, which has led to another set of problem, which is increase in the population. But nevertheless, birth rates have increased, which is 36.7 percent 1951, and now in 2012 it is 67.9%. So we see some achievements, and we see the numbers and are depleting where it used to deplete, like in death rate, and it increasing where it has to increase, like in birth rate. These numbers have been considerably doing so far little better due to the improvement that has been happening in the healthcare sector, but still low per capita calorie consumption and malnutrition, which is a very, very big problem in our country, which we have in detail studied in the chapter poverty, and lack of safe drinking water, basic sanitation are the major concerns. We are still on the verge of, we are still struggling for basic things, and basic concerns are need to be taken care of. We might talk about bullet trains and very, very technologically advanced thing, but the thing that need to be focused here in India are still basic things like safe drinking water, nutrition to every child and woman. Okay, not just child and woman, but to people who need it. Okay, so that's why healthcare sectors are important characteristics. Next is adolescent population. Okay, now adolescent, the word adolescent, basically adolescent involve teenage. This is a very sensitive population any country will have, and government takes major steps to improve. And sadly, most adolescents in India have diets, have And sadly, in India, most teenager or the adolescent groups have inadequate nutrition in their diet. Means they did not receive as much as nutrition that they required in their everyday life. Okay, due to various factors. Now there are sensitizing of various factors that needs to be done within this population for many things. For example, a large number of adolescent girls suffers from anemia, and there are other problems that a girl face. For example, menstruation, and more awareness of these sensitive topics are required to be done in this population. So this is a very sensitive population to deal with for any government. And government do takes various steps to conserve and to preserve these adolescent population. Now what are the things that can be done? One very important is awareness. We can aware them about it. We can promote more education and more awareness about particular thing and a particular act. Okay, next very important thing is education. If teenagers are, if youngsters, or what we call it, the future of our country, are educated, definitely it will lead to development and progress. Okay, so these were few characteristics of important characteristics of population.